Good to see you. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Dan DeMott is in the house.
Dan DeMott. Yes.
I'm here, ready to bring a bunch of value today, hopefully.
Yeah, he's going to bring it. It's going to be fun. So,
by the way, I'm not that foil that I sent you. I don't know that brand, so be careful. That looked a little bit too good to be true.
Yeah, so for everyone who's tuning in, Don and I are working on a little goal setting around my goal to pick up an e-foil. So if you're not familiar with that, it's basically like an electronic surfboard.
Oh wow!
And for my birthday, I took a lesson and rented one, and really wanted this. I absolutely love it. I used to kiteboard and do different things like that, so it was right in my wheelhouse. And they're extremely expensive, and so I told Don I've got a goal around hitting some benchmarks in my business this year, and if I get there, that's my big reward. And so he's been sort of goading me along to keep making progress by sending me used boards that he finds online. So. Yeah, that was
so
that looked
you need
like
a great coach. Dan is your guy, and that's also going to get him a e-foil.
That's right.
That's right. We're getting closer by the day.
So we'll get rolling here a little after 9:03. I'll just give about 3 minutes for people to filter in because we got agents from all over the nation. I know Randy and I were coming in hot from another meeting and so on. So it's good to see everybody. Jackie representing Denver, Colorado. Good to see you. And Marion, good to see you. Davis, California in the house. I love it. And Rebecca representing Truckee and Tahoe and all things.
Rebecca, how is your market up there now? I'm kind of curious.
The market is a little slow. It just depends on the price point, what people are looking at. Really 2 million and above. Is a little bit slower. Our inventories more favored towards the buyer's market, I want to say. Below 2 million, it's definitely still a seller's market, but a lot less inventory there as well. So,
yeah. Well, we're going to have an event up there in Tacoma, north of you, September 15th, 16th. So stay in touch with us on that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Love that area.
Great. That's going to be great. All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and get started. We're recording this. Summertime can be a little tough. People are out traveling and doing different things. And I know my wife and I are getting out of town. I know others are getting out of town. So, but we got a real treat today. And for you that are devoting the time, you're going to get poured into. Dan DeMott is a friend of mine. He's not only a rock star realtor and team leader and, brokerage owner and leader and builder, but he's an amazing coach. And he's directed his focus as of late to really build out his coaching business and pour into realtors. He started his first year. He had, 12 sales his first year, one a month, not bad. But that wasn't why he got in the business. He had big goals. And I think within 3.5 years, he did I think it was over $1 million of gross commission income and something like 130 or 40 deals or something. I mean, it's just pretty amazing. And so I don't want to take too much more of your time, Dan. We're really privileged to have you on. I know you're going to pour into our people. And you're going to talk about the closer technique, which was an aha for me regarding social media. And then you got some really unique things regarding circle dialing and some of those. And let's let you take it away, my man.
Yeah. So, I appreciate the intro, and I appreciate all of you spending some time with me. I much prefer if we make this really interactive. I said to Matthew, I do these kind of things a lot. They're most fun when you guys give me some direction. So I'll give you a quick recap of my story and then talk about a few things that I can bring value. I've learned very few things in the real estate business, but the ones that I have learned, I know how to do really, really well. And so you guys can help me figure out which of those I can give the most value for you on. But as Matthew said, I've got a sort of lifelong career in real estate, but in a lot of different aspects. A lot of that was corporate real estate work, investing in private equity and things like that. But for the past 10 years, I've been extremely entrepreneurial with my real estate. I built a property management company and sold that. And then while my non-compete was in place in my property management company, my vision at that time was, well, I'll sell this property management company, wait for the non-compete to go away, then I'll open up another one and build that up again. And in the interim there, while I was in that non-compete, I started selling real estate. I thought, well, I'll sell a couple houses. It'll give me something to do, make a little bit of money. So in 2018, I started out like everybody else, picking up the phone, calling my database. And that year I sold just about 12 transactions, about $4 million worth of real estate. And I thought, you know what? There's something here. I kind of like this. I think I could do a lot better. So my next year I got a coach and a part-time admin. We did 37 transactions for about $9 million worth of sales. A year after that, I made a brokerage change, decided to build a team, got a different coach who understood that concept of team building, and went from 37 transactions to 84 and $20 million of production, and put a whole team in place. And then the year after that, 2021, we did 128 sales, $34 million of volume. I did not meet with a single client. I had a full team built out of buyers agents and listing agents and inside sales agents and virtual assistants. So I had a really rapid trajectory in building out my real estate sales business. But that came from learning how to do a couple things really well and then teaching other people, right? The whole process of team building I looked at like an opportunity for me to teach others to do what worked for me and create opportunity for them. We did do over $1 million of GCI for in 2021. We did about 750 the year before that, of which a meaningful percentage of that went to my buyers agents and listing agents. And so my big satisfaction came from teaching them the skills necessary for them to achieve their goals. All of them did extremely well in those years and continue to today. They've since evolved into building their own businesses, which I'm part of in a coaching capacity. And so the things we did really, really well were database marketing, right? Setting up your database, working it consistently, having a process and a plan in place where you're marketing to it at a really high level. So we have a 60-touch marketing program that we do, 60 touches throughout the course of the year. It's very systematic and we follow, making that a manageable task for everyone. And then on top of that, where we really got our substantial growth was through the process of circle prospecting. So what we were looking for was, when I got my first coach, he was a Tom Ferry coach, and he said, Dan, you get all this business from your database, that's great, but for every listing you get, you should get another buyer. Now, I'm not a buyer's agent, never have been. The thought of driving people around and showing them houses makes me physically ill. So that's part of the reason I had to hire a team. So I said, okay, what if instead of getting a buyer for every listing I got another listing? Let's build it. Let's figure out a way to do that. And circle prospecting became the strategy that worked for me, which is essentially the process of calling everyone in the neighborhood around any listing, or if we brought a buyer to the property, and letting them know that we sold the house in their neighborhood, that means that's going to have an impact on the value of their home, and ask if they had any questions about what that means for them. So we use a very consultative script. I'm not a very salesy person, but it was highly consultative and trying to bring value. And then what we found was the combination of those two, where we were getting deals from our database and we were circle prospecting, which was adding people to our database, and then those people were getting our database marketing, sort of built a snowball. And so we got to the point in 2021, we took one listing every week from cold call circle prospecting, and we would add 10 people a day to our database. And then those people were going in for long-term nurtures following that system. So that compound effect is what really allowed us to grow so rapidly in our sales business. And so those two areas, database marketing with the 60-touch system and the circle prospecting, are both areas where I have a really built out process, and we can dig into those depending on what you guys all want. And then the third thing that I've done more recently that Matthew mentioned is really learn how to do social media at a high level. So even though I've been on social media in a personal capacity for a long time, I never really understood how to use it for business. And I got a coach who helped me do that. He unlocked that for me in the agent attraction space first. And I've leaned into that, learned a ton about that space of how to have a system around content creation and calls to action and converting social media into leads. and then feeding those people again back to that database. It all comes back to database in my world. And I've now developed a system around content creation for agents, where every week the agents that are in my coaching programs get 6 specific pieces of content to make that follow the same format, what we call the closer format. So they know every week exactly what kind of content to create that will convert and build their database.
Well, let's jump in there. Let's give them a fire hose today, because we're going to have to cut it. We're till 9:30, so let's give them a lot of meat here. So let's do the closer technique, because that was something.
Sure.
I go, what is that? That's interesting, right?
Sure. So here's the closer technique. Actually, I'll pull this up so that you guys can see it. So the idea came from the fact that, let me bring this. You guys should all be able to see that. The idea came from when I learned social
Dan,
media.
real quick, we did see it, but then you changed it, and now it's a white line down the middle.
That's not helpful at all.
But when you first did it, we saw it. Yeah, we see it right now.
Perfect. Okay. So when I first learned social media in the agent attraction space, what became really helpful for me was having a framework, meaning I needed to know what types of content I could create. I needed to have those ideas in advance and be looking for opportunities to create that content along the way. So I had a framework in agent attraction, and I thought, a lot of the agents that I work with for coaching were struggling with social media. They didn't know what type of content they should create or when they should post it. And so I created this closer schedule. So closer is an acronym for the 6 types of content that I think every realtor should create on a weekly basis. So the first one is community spotlights. C for community spotlights. This is going to be highlighting local communities or neighborhoods, areas of interest or unique features or events that are happening in your community. Sort of the digital mayor concept, right? Be the person who's sharing the most information about what you love about where you live. Second one was L, listing showcase. Again, the idea here being sort of an easy one, either a listing that you have or one that's available on the market that you love, and just highlighting that. O, it stands for ownership tips. So providing some kind of valuable tip or insight on home ownership, things like mortgages, refinancing, tax benefits, maintenance, different items like that. S is success stories. Most real estate agents do these well, right? Sharing the story of a client you helped or a testimonial. So this is just about scheduling it into the week and spreading those out. E for expert advice. I want to make sure all of the agents that I'm working with are always presenting themselves as the experts in the real estate field. So this is going to be some topic, some small topic that you can share about either market trends, or something from the process of buying or selling. And we're going to go into some specific ones. And R is recreation. We are all people. We're not real estate robots. And so sharing something that you're passionate about or you have a hobby for, I think is really critical to building those relationships on social media. So I'll show you what that plays out with. So here's the past 2 weeks. So every week on my coach, I do a group coaching call every Monday, and we provide everyone with a template email to send their database and the 6 pieces of content that follow the spotlight. So this past week, right, community spotlight was picking a neighborhood in your area, maybe one that you like, you farm, one that you work in or want to work in, and highlighting that, in a little video, talking about what you love about the neighborhood, how's the school district, what's the home prices, things like that. Then a listing showcase, that's the easy one. Again, highlighting a listing that's on the market. Ownership tips. This week we're doing home insurance options, particularly relevant here in South Florida. Our homeowners insurance market is terrible right now. We're having a lot of people who are getting non-renewal letters, and I'm encouraging all of my agents to be the first call for your customers when it comes to homeowners insurance issues, right? And so we're redirecting them and tagging our preferred vendors on that. Tagging your preferred vendors is a great social media strategy because it's going to allow you to leverage their networks as well and get further reach for your content. So I always encourage people, once we tag somebody that we have a relationship with.
Hey,
Success
Dan,
story. Yeah, go ahead, Don.
before you go on from the insurance, because like Matthew pointed out, I know you guys have hurricanes in Florida. We've got fires in California and so forth. And it occurred to me that maybe one of the things that would be really powerful right now in both those states in particular would be, what about if you interview maybe on Zoom or on a podcast, the insurance broker that is issuing policies, and just say, hey, if you've gotten one of these letters, here is a professional that is honoring their policies and would be happy to assist you. So, you can kind of highlight your professional and bring some value to your sphere.
Yeah, that's exactly the idea here. Is to highlight someone you work with, and for me more specifically, I'm always coaching to. I want to be the first person as the real estate agent that anyone in my database calls for anything related to their house, right? So I don't want to wait until they're thinking about buying or selling to call me. I want them to call me if their AC isn't working. I want them to call me if they need to get the landscaping done, their house painted. And if they have a problem with their, air conditioning, or they're going to get a refinance, I want to be the first phone call and be that resource for them. So a lot of the messaging, we sent an email out with this same concept as well. And I think that's what you want to highlight here. Who's a professional that that is helping people, or at a minimum, just making sort of a PSA to say, there's a problem in the home insurance market right now, and I can be a resource. If you get a letter from your insurance company, don't hesitate, reach out and call me. I want to be your first call, because most people, just like most real estate agents don't work their database and maintain those relationships, most insurance agents and mortgage brokers also don't work their database the right way to build those relationships. So don't count on your clients having a relationship with their insurance professional. Be the resource for that. Yeah, but great point there. And I think it applies to every market. I don't think there's any market in the country that's not suffering with some homeowners insurance issue right now. So moving on from there, every Thursdays we do success stories. So again, that's going to be client testimonial, or just a picture from a closing. E is expert advice. So this week we're talking about digital staging. Last week we talked about. Let me see. Last week we talked about what happens during the inspection period. So again, in my opinion, there's no topic too small to create a piece of content around when it comes to real estate, and just presents you as the expert. So this week we're talking about why digital staging for photography, listing photography, is critical to getting top dollar. And then on Saturday, recreational post. I always think it's good to time it with the weekend. And we're sharing a book you're reading, or a podcast you're listening to, or something you're doing that you enjoy, to really bring that human connection. I always tell people, you're far more likely to connect with someone on social media because the type of soda you drink, or the barbecue sauce you use when you grill, or some other random fact, than you are to connect about real estate. I'm always looking for ways to spark conversation based on something unrelated to real estate, and build a real relationship with people. But this format, my main idea here is that every week you should have an outline to follow. You should know exactly what you're going to post ahead of time, so that you have time to create that content, or at least know what you need to create on a daily basis. And also, where I see a lot of agents miss an opportunity is spreading out content, right? Because so much of us approach social media without a plan. So if you have 3 closings in 1 week, then you post 3 closing photos and 3, just closed. That's a month worth of content if you take those pictures and then schedule them out using this plan. So every closing, on Thursdays we highlight testimonials or closings. So if we get 5 in 1 week, then that's the next 5 weeks of Thursday posts right there. That's going to allow you to have a lot less stress around constantly creating content. And it'll also give you consistency, because the one thing I've learned in building my social media presence for agent attraction, and in the real estate side as well, is the number one thing you can do to improve your reach on social media is post consistently. If you can post every single day, you will get more and more reach. If you are inconsistent, you will get punished by the Facebook algorithm for that.
Very, very true. Very, very true. That's awesome. So hopefully we have some time to transition into your circle dialing, non-salesy script, and how you're picking up a listing a week. And then you said 10 in your database every day?
We're adding 8 to 10 people a day added to the database was the
Wow.
goal from circle prospecting. Yeah.
And then also trying to find them on and add them on social media as well. So database and social.
For me, database was always is always the most important, right? So if you can cross connect on social media, but if I can get someone in my database, you said they're going to get at the heart of our database marketing plan is 52 emails, an email every single week, and then quarterly calls or texts, as well as birthday and home anniversary messages. So it's sort of the heart of that plan. And so once I know once I get someone in my database, I'm going to be the number one real estate agent they think about, right? To me, database marketing is all about mind share. Mind share is again through consistency. We know that over 50% of listings, and these are based on National Association of Realtors statistics, over 50% of listings come from database marketing sphere of influence and referrals. So I wanted to my goal is always get as many people as I can into the database, and then smother them with communication so that I'm the first person they think about. The fastest way to add people to the database, if you have some activity going on in your business, for me was circle prospecting. So the process there is we would take, if we got a listing in your neighborhood, we would pull the list of everyone in the neighborhood and we would go through and we would call all of them. Now, there's one sort of critical call. I would say start with one. We worked up to the point where we were doing 2 phone calls and an email. But if you're just getting started, start with 1 phone call. When you close on something, whether you're the listing agent or the buyer's agent, pull all the homes in the neighborhood. And this is a very easy, non-soliciting, not salesy script. You're going to call everyone and you're going to want to have some fact about that sale that you just did that is really important. Was it a great price per square foot? Was it a new top dollar sale? Did you go under contract in 3 days? Did you have multiple offers? Whatever your hook is, right? And so we would call everybody in the neighborhood and we'd say, hey, Matthew, this is Dan DeMott with the Home Source team. Listen, we just sold your neighbor's house at 123 Main Street. It was a new high price per square foot in the neighborhood. Just call in to see if you had any questions about what that sale means for the value of your home.
Well, how much per square foot was it?
That's fantastic. Listen, we got $350 per square foot. It's 20% higher than the last sale in the neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder, I'm kind of curious what that would translate to our house is bigger. We got a pool, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Listen, I know that your house is probably going to be a little bit different, and we want to schedule some time to give you the most accurate valuation. So here's what I'd like to do. Let me send you a list of the 3 most recent sales. I want you to take a look at them tonight. Make some notes on how your home is different than those. What you got the upgrades, you got the pool, your house sounds lovely, and I'm sure you've taken care of it. So let me know how your home differs from those 3 that recently sold. And then let's get on the phone tomorrow at 3:00, and you can give me that information about how your home compares so I can give you a really accurate valuation. How does that sound?
That sounds good. I want to be clear. We're not looking at selling. We love our house, and I have an idea. I went on Zillow and kind of looked there,
Well, listen, if Zillow numbers were accurate, I'd be out of business a long time ago. And I'm not, really? and I'm not asking you to sell your house. I'm just here to provide some information. I'm calling all the neighbors because I think it's really important that you as a homeowner know what your home is worth in today's market. So no solicitation. I'm not going to come over, but give me 15 minutes tomorrow. Let's get back on the phone.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
Perfect. What's the best email address I could send that information to?
Yeah, I'm not selling at gmail.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right. So I look forward to talking to you tomorrow at 3:00. So
okay, sounds good.
Hey, I love your manner, Dan.
Yep.
Just
wasn't phased.
Yeah. Don't let him see you sweat, baby.
Well, you change your mindset when your mannerism can change when you change your mindset on what's a desirable outcome.
Yes.
Right. My desirable outcome is not that Matthew lists his house tomorrow. My desirable outcome is that I start a relationship and add him to my database.
Well, and I think to your earlier point, that could have been also a really nice time for you to say, Matthew, I know that people only sell about once every 10 years. My goal in reaching out to you is to be a neighborhood resource. And so I want to be your first call because while you may only sell once every 10 years, pretty good chance you're going to need in between those two times, a painter, plumber, roofer, landscaper.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, is there anything that needs attention around the house at this time that I could connect you to? Right?
That's a great variation. So what I'll tell you is the conversation that we just role played with Matthew is typically how someone will go if they're actually thinking about selling their house. Right. So it's almost exactly the script that you have when you're going to get an appointment. Now, the key thing in how we structured that script, and Matthew and I did not practice that, but he set it up perfectly.
Yeah.
He set us up perfectly because here was the thing I think was most important to success with circle prospecting. We started a relationship for trust. And so instead of asking, can I come by your house and meet with you and see it? I said, I'm going to send you an email and then let's agree to get on the phone tomorrow. Right. So I always use the dating analogy. If you saw someone in public that you were interested in dating, you wouldn't say, hey, do you want to go on a vacation next week? You would say, why don't we meet for a cup of coffee in Starbucks during the day? Right, in a public location. Like, the stakes are really low at that point, right? We're just starting a relationship. Coffee goes well, maybe we'll go to dinner, right? So what I always want to do is just start the basic level of a relationship, which is I'm going to provide you with some value and I'm going to send you that email. You're going to agree to take a look at it and get back on the phone with me. And we're going to see if there's something to our relationship from there, right? And what ends up happening is you get two things. One is, like I said, Matthew sounds like the likely person who's going to sell. We get on the phone the next day. We review the comps. Matthew goes, well, this comp you sent me, was Bob's house and his house was a piece of garbage. And I've got the pool and the better view and I upgraded the floors and I got the best this and that, right? Like everybody's house is the perfect one.
Exactly.
Right. And then I would set up and say, great, listen, this is sort of the range, but I'd love to come out and see the house. It sounds lovely. Let's get together for 10 minutes. I'll drop off some, valuation information and we really be able to nail this down. But if Matthew shows me on the appointment for tomorrow,
mm-hmm.
right? I now have the right, in my opinion, to text Matthew and go, are you okay? Which is the best way to get someone to reschedule with you ever. Because my view is this. Matthew, I said I was going to send you an email with some comps and you said you were going to look at them and then we were going to get on the phone tomorrow and discuss it. I sent you an email and I'm here ready to talk about it. You didn't do what you said you would. You gave me your word that we were going to have a conversation. So I'd like to know if you're okay. I'm just going to assume that you're a man of your word and something must have happened, which would thus prevent you from getting back on the phone with me like we agreed to do.
Yeah.
And so that was always our reschedule. One text, are you okay? And sometimes that text will sit for 2 days, but it almost never goes unanswered because it wears on people.
Yes.
And they'll go, oh, and then they'll come back 2 days later like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like something came up and can we talk tomorrow? Right. So that's always really key to that. And then sometimes, the conversation goes, well, I'm really not interested in selling or, I don't have any interest in a follow-up conversation. At which point we would say, great, I totally understand. Listen, I'd like, to Don's point, I'd like to be a long-term resource for you, and I'd like to be the person who can keep you updated on the value of your home as activity continues to go on. I put out a monthly email with home valuation specifically to your neighborhood. I promise it's not spam. What's the best email for me to send that to? And almost every time they'll just give you the email.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love it. Well, we are at 9:30, and I had asked Dan if maybe there were some of the resources that you kind of shared on your screen, or maybe the circle dialing kind of scripting and stuff that maybe you'd be willing to share with the people on today.
Yeah,
putting you on the spot here, but
totally fine. So one thing, the closer format for social media, we're actually turning into a webinar. So I'm going to send it to Matthew so he has access to that. Hold on here.
And while you're doing that,
what you guys might do is if you want to get the By the way, love that. I already stole it. I already took a picture of it. Dan.
Yeah.
There you go. So Don's going to share it with you. The other thing I'm going to I just put a link in the chat for my online resource. So we got a couple things in there. The first thing, when you click on that, you can get my free database marketing game plan, which will go over that 60 touch marketing program we use for our database. Costs you absolutely nothing. The second thing is there's a database link for a database marketing course, which I charge for. If you use code Atomic Team, code is Atomic Team, you're going to get it for free. So that is a 1-hour recording of me going through the database marketing game plan with all the slides and all the resources and everything like that. So feel free to download that and get after it, no charge. And then I also have group coaching on there. So I do a group coaching call every Monday. We do so a couple things that go with that. Every week you're going to get the email that I'm sending to my database, and you can send to yours. You're going to get the 6 content ideas, and you get a weekly Zoom coaching with me. It's a small group. And then I also, most importantly, have an accountability app. So group coaching is for someone who really wants accountability around executing a database marketing plan. I will ask you every single day to report your activities, and I will hold you accountable to them. I will harass you if you don't do them for more than 2 days. So if you want that kind of accountability in your life, we do have the group coaching as well. You're welcome to anyone on this call is welcome to send me a DM and hop in for a free trial session. And then it's $297 a month, gets you that weekly call and all that, and the daily accountability tracker. Code Atomic Team will also get you 50% off on that. So if anybody is interested in group coaching, you could try it once for free, and then you can use the Atomic Team code. As friends of Matthew's and Don's, you're friends of mine, and you can get a discount there.
Amen, brother. Appreciate you. Well, hey, we've gone over in time. I really appreciate you pouring into everybody here. Normally, I'm sorry we didn't have more people on for you, quite frankly. Shame on us. We normally have 40 to 50, but I think summertime, people squeezing in vacations, something's going on. So I think this is one of the lightest we've had, actually.
My goal is always that if we get one person on here who implements this, they'll change their business. And that's, if I get one person today, that's perfect.
There you go. Yeah.
I learned some stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm always trying to get people up to 300. I feel like that's, that people that you're a real estate resource for, your realtor of choice, your circle prospecting system to get there fast, combined maybe with open houses, is a magnificent way to do it.
It really is.
Yeah. And I know we're over, but I think this point is relevant. Where most people don't struggle to add people, to bring people in their circle. Most people struggle to maintain a relationship for the long term that converts. And so when you put a system in place around your database and you're executing it consistently, then having that system in place will allow you to actually get the ROI. So I see so many people who will host open houses. Well, you host open houses, you add 20 people to your database. If you don't market to them, you're never going to get that ROI. As you pointed out earlier, Don, the average person sells a house every 7 to 10 years. We've got to maintain long-term relationships to get an ROI on those leads we get. Someone, and I know we're going over, but I'm just going to keep going.
They said, where do you get the numbers?
Yeah, so I use the service Vulcan 7. Okay. I've tried all of them. I've tried RedX, Espresso, Dialer, Mojo. I found the contact information on Vulcan 7 to be the most accurate. We do about 97% of the time we can get a phone number for the actual homeowner using Vulcan 7. They also they're up to about 60% of the emails, which end up being accurate. And we have the circle prospecting plan now includes a follow-up email as well. And so we do that through there. I also have a promo. To be honest, I'm not sure exactly what it gets you, but it does get you something. But if you use vulcan7.com/Dan DeMott, you can sign up there and you get some kind of discount or free month or something like that. And I'm featured on, if you go on Vulcan 7's coursework, they've got a couple interviews where I go through my whole circle prospecting marketing plan.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Well,
thank you.
Really appreciate you spending the time and hopping on, and excited.
My pleasure. This was fun.
Do more together and so on. So it will be recorded and put on the Atomic Habits. If you have not joined the Atomic Habits powered by EXP on our Facebook, the group page, you should do that. We do have every Friday our Freedom Friday call that Tom Daves hosts, and that's 9 a.m. Pacific time until usually 9:30, sometimes long. He brings in just top guests there as well. Thursday, if you are curious about agent attraction, we do this month 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. 2 hours of live calls to agents around the country. Coach Randy Bird, myself, others. And that's at chatwithmatt.live. And then Don Yoakum has his weekly coaching call at 9 a.m. on Tuesdays at proinsightwithdon.live. So a lot of good stuff for you. Have an amazing rest of your Wednesday, hump day, and let's finish strong the rest of the week. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Great stuff.